All right, next up we have Pettish and Smiloo. Pettish having top cutted previously multiple times in the PCS qualifier events. So good to see Pettish back. We'll see how far they can make it in this particular tournament. And without further ado, we're just going to get right into this game because, like I said, we got a lot of games to get through. So let's go. Ezreal, see, now, yeah, I got to agree, because again, Ezreal TF, anything I think with TF, like we saw a lot of Swain TF earlier, it's just very versatile. Ezreal TF is obviously Ezreal TF. It's a really good deck. Anyways, it's one of the most popular decks in the format lately, and I do think it has a pretty good matchup into both of the remaining decks on the side of Pettish. But with that said, we are just about to get into game one, so we're going to pull on over to the gameplay.
All right, Fiora Shen into Endure Spiders for game number one. I definitely think that this is one of the matchups where you can go for this Fiora win condition pretty safely. The Shen adding just a little bit of extra oomph to keep that alive as well. And Smiley starting off with a pretty powerful curve, though he doesn't have the Fiora just yet.
Yeah, does have the Shen though. So right now his hand looking a-okay as far as curving out. If he does draw the Fiora by the time turn 3 rolls around, that will be incredible. Also has the deny to potentially stop something that could kill the Fiora. I mean, at this point, actually, besides the Atrocity, what else could...
Glimpse Beyond.
Yeah, Glimpse Beyond. Or Vile Feast, technically, but I don't know about that. So, yeah, Glimpse Beyond's probably what you're going to want to deny.
If it's going onto a barrier, I could see it, but it's pretty likely that deny is going to get used either on Glimpse Beyond or Atrocity.
And we do see the Fleet Feather. We followed by the War Chefs. Pretty typical stuff. See another Fleet Feather in hand as well. And a Genevieve drawn. So it's possible Smiloo could go pretty wide here early on in the game. But we do see, unfortunately, exactly what we just mentioned there with the Vile Feast coming out. This War Chef's going to attack. And God, even just seeing the War Chefs makes me souped for Targon, man. Just these support units, baby.
Now, look, we already have a support deck. It's called Shen Fiora. I don't need a second one.
Wait, actually, this brings up a good point. Wait, all right, hold on. Is Shen just bad because of Taric now?
I mean, so one of the appeals of Shen Fiora is not just the Shen necessarily, but the Greenglade Caretaker as well as the Deny. Granted, I think it's called Bastion, the one that gives you a spell shield.
Yeah, yep.
That might just be a good enough replacement for Deny that maybe we just see like Taric Bastion as with Fiora instead of the Shen Deny, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and they also they got a replacement for Greenglade Caretaker. Basically, when a unit's supported, when that unit is supported, it gets +2 attack permanently.
I don't think that's nearly as good as the Caretaker necessarily.
I agree. Yeah, because you can play Caretaker is great because you can play something like Brightsteel Formation. Yeah. And it just triggers multiple times, whereas that can only potentially, get to attack once a turn. So,
I actually have to. What's Taric's level up condition?
7 supports.
I don't think we see Taric in this deck.
Yep. So that was the one thing with Taric is that even though on the surface he seems better than Shen, his level up condition is astronomically harder.
Yeah, so. I think that I don't necessarily. I definitely think it'll overtake Shen in the early weeks, but I think eventually we actually will see a return to form on Fiora Shen. I think that the Taric level up condition might just be too hard, although it depends on how good Bastion actually ends up being. Is that 3 mana that much more relevant than the 4 mana of Deny?
Deny version 2.0, baby.
Yeah, I ain't excited about that, man. I'm not looking forward to these Ionia Targon decks with Denies and Bastions. Maybe that'll be enough to just completely send Spooky Karma out of the meta, though. So.
Yeah, right, yeah. I see your Spooky Karma. I raise you the deck that lets you do nothing at all.
All right, so we're going to see a quick kill onto the Callista here. Nothing Pettish can actually do to pretend this is just sort of all units at this moment, so losing the Callista here going to feel pretty bad.
Yeah, and this is just a great spot for Smiloo to be in. I mean, pretty aggressive. You're going into turn 4. You curved out beautifully. Not quite the Fiora turn 3 draw that we were looking for, but did end up with a Brightsteel Protector and Fleet Feather Tracker to pair very nicely, protecting that War Chefs. And one of the drawbacks to support units, very crucially, is the fact that when they attack, they're usually vulnerable themselves. They might buff the unit they're attacking with quite well, but usually you're sacrificing that support unit to do so, and Brightsteel making it so that is not the case here.
So one alternate win condition that Pettish does kind of have in this matchup is Sejuani Neverglade Collector.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just constantly frostbite Smilu's board by blocking whatever's on the left with one unit and then frostbiting everything out, that is an avenue for victory, though I think, yeah, there's only single combat in the deck for Smilu, no Concerted Strike, and without Concerted Strike, it is a lot harder to actually kill the Sejuani, but we're not really seeing Pettish have any agency in that regard. Has, a little bit ticked towards the Sejuani level, but without having the Neverglade Collector and the Sejuani on board, and with neither of them in hand, it is not necessarily something you're going to be able to cobble together in this matchup specifically.
Yeah, I will say this is pretty big right here with these saplings, especially because he can go back-to-back with these and play another one on his next attack turn. Will likely be able to clear a decent amount of Smilu's field by the time his next attack turn rolls around. So I do think that Pettish is at least stabilizing a little bit here. He's doing an okay job of kind of keeping up with Smilu. And this attack, if Smilu doesn't block, I imagine he'll probably maybe block a token, a spider.
I don't see a reason not to. There's no 2-attack unit on Pettish's board currently that, sort of makes you worried about that. You could read that he's, obviously, like we know with Caster Vision that Pettish is probably trying to set up this War Chef for the next Blighted Caretaker. But I think that Smilu is going to be pretty happy to take this block as well, even if it does eventually die to a sapling.
Yeah, and he does take the Spiderling block. We do see the They Who Endure in his hand too, which honestly seems like it's already pretty strong. Is it at like 6 or 7 right now? Maybe.
I believe it's at 7 now. And critically, Smilu's going to be able to play Genevieve next turn, which is actually going to heal the Shen and War Chef outside of the range of the Blighted Caretaker.
Yeah, Genevieve, such a strong card too. Even regardless of putting them outside of range, now you're going to be able to pick off 2, maybe even 3 units here, depending on what Pettish decides to play here before sending the attack back over to Smilu. And wow, yeah, this is definitely going to be a big swing turn on the part of Smilu now.
I'm trying to calculate how big Pettish can get this indoor. So it's a 7/7. We've got
8,
how many units can
10,
possibly
11,
die?
13, 14, 15, 16 total.
So not enough to actually push through the win with just the indoor. But if Pettish can top deck an Atrocity relatively soon, he can go ahead and remember what a Deny looks like. But outside of that, things not looking phenomenal for Pettish.
Yeah, you never know. I honestly, just throwing the They Who Endure down next turn might be enough to start to really pressure Smilu, because at this point, if Pettish doesn't win by turn 9, I want to go out on a limb and say that Smilu will just win, because turn 9 you'll drop the Brightsteel formation. And then you just get wrecked by the Caretaker too. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, and the Shen will level up. By the way, you play a Brightsteel formation and the Shen instantly levels up. So yeah, we're on a clock here, and Pettish has 3 more turns of that clock before he says bye-bye.
There is still a very difficult board for Smilu to actually push through on the side of Pettish. I think, once this Endure gets to maybe something like a 10-10, we could just see it come down and start swinging away. There's not actually a great way for Smilu to remove that at the moment. But if the Brightsteel formation, as you mentioned, does come down, I think that Smilu just has too good of a blocker for Pettish to actually deal with, and then the Endure will eventually get removed. The Deny will stop out the Atrocity, and things should go the way of Smilu eventually.
Yep, and we do see the Shen barriering up. That's a hard word. Barriering up the Genevieve to take down this 3/4 Elise, which is a pretty big deal. Unfortunately, loses the Shen, which kind of stinks. And, Pettish is going to lose pretty much all of his field, but he's got a big-ass They Who Endure coming up, though. So, ooh. Okay, that's the thing. Single combat might help him. Ooh, a Fury of the North just got drawn by Pettish as well. This is going to be close.
This is, 9 damage coming through?
Yeah,
I don't think Smilu is going to be able to get through Pettish's board quick enough.
Yeah, and, so let's say 8. He actually can't single... All right. Oh, yeah, actually, because it's only going to be 8 mana next turn. So he's still not going to be able to get this Bright Steel formation down. So I think Pettish might actually be able to beat this clock out of this Bright Steel formation.
Seeming pretty likely. It was really a question of like how aggressively does Pettish play this Endure, and throwing it down on 7, understanding that I need to get in a couple of attacks with this was the right play, and I think Pettish is actually going to be able to win this one, although no, you still can't kill this, right?
Well, you can't. If you do this, I think he has to pull the They Who Endure, because then you can single combat with anything on your field, or well, the Caretaker or the Fiora to kill it. Looks like he's going to get the trade off first, which makes sense. But what he doesn't know is that Pettish has a Fury of the North in hand. So even if he goes that route, if Pettish decides to open attack... Oh, this is close, because you also might want to consider, if Pettish doesn't open attack, you can get down the Bright Steel formation with the single combat. But what's the chances Pettish doesn't open attack?
Pretty low.
This is going to put 6 damage, so smartly putting as much damage on as possible. I still don't think that's going to matter. That's going to put him down to 6.
It does give Smilu the option to top deck a riposte.
Yes. Yep, so if a riposte... Alright, so that would actually save him as well. Yeah, so just... I think that because Pettish was able to get this They Who Endure down prior to the Bright Steel formation, I think he's going to be okay, and he'll be able to actually win this game, assuming, like you said, Smilu doesn't top a riposte. But, if we know anything from Duels of Runeterra from this past week, a top deck riposte is very possible.
Okay.
1, 4, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, so just going to force out the blocks.
The top deck riposte is off the table now, though. It won't actually be enough to save Smilu from that Fury of the North.
Which means I think that that's just always going to be game now. No matter what, which feels really bad. Oh, is he? Okay, I was going to say, why wouldn't you block there? I don't think there's a reason to not block there.
I mean, I think you always block with this Avarosan Sentry just to get your additional draw off.
This would be really weird if he doesn't block with both of these, though. There's no reason to take damage. I don't know what you're saving a blocker for either. But yeah, I got to agree with you. Because he chose not to buff the Genevieve, yeah, he's outside of range of being able to riposte now. Or wait, hold on. 5, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he's not.
It is.
Oh, wait, no, riposte is 3 attack.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's right. Math is hard.
I'm like, how do I say this other than you're wrong? Yeah. Even a second single combat doesn't get it done.
No.
Unless Smilu throws this single combat on the Neverglade Collector at this right now and then top decks another single combat. But I feel like it was much safer to just play to the riposte top deck.
Does it matter if he does it? Oh, okay. That's what he's gonna do. So wait, there might be more copies of single combat then?
I mean, he's playing 3 riposte and 3 Fiora, so there's always more riposte in the deck than single combats.
He didn't play any riposte yet either, did he?
No, so there's still 5 riposte in his deck to 2 copies of single combat. And it's possible he just wasn't thinking about Fury of the North, was potentially just like, I don't know, thinking about the atrocity, but still, I mean, like, the buff onto the Neverglade does fight for board a little bit better, but this should just be Pettish picking up Lethal Smilu. Don't you dare get rewarded.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
And even gets the atrocity, just adding the insult to injury, but that is going to be 12 damage coming at Smilu's face, and that's going to be Pettish picking up game number 1.
Oh, I wanted to see the atrocity come out. Come on, man. Just so we can see that deny that's been so useful the entire game there. All right, so yeah.
The deny it makes you feel safe.
Oh yeah. I can do what I want and not get punished for it, you know? If my opponent does randomly rip a Ruination, I'm fine.
It doesn't matter.
So yeah, Pettish going up 1-0 there over Smilu. We'll see what we have here for the second matchup. I believe that means Pettish is going to have to take the Fiora Garen deck now, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that Fiora Shen is going to play a little bit better into the Mono Demacia Bannerman than it did the Endure Spiders, but it looks like we're actually going to switch over to the Ezreal Twisted Fate potentially.
And I'm going to take a look at this deck list too on Miley. Okay, so pretty typical version of
Yeah.
Ezreal Twisted Fate. It looks like lots of draw, 2 salvage, 2 pilfered goods. Is opting for pilfered goods. I know some people had decided to cut that in the past. Petty Officer, Black Market Merchant. So yeah, very, very typical Ezreal TF deck. 3 Riptides, so we're counting down the turns until Riptide Rex hits the board.
How many Rangers Resolve are in this Mono Demacia Bannerman? 2 copies, that's enough. That's enough to survive a Riptide. We're not worried about it.
And yeah, all right, so he is going to go with the TF Ezreal. I don't know if he's maybe thinking about just like what maybe he wanted to go ahead and still use the Demacia deck, but no, okay. So he does go with the TF Ezreal.
So I kind of like this. It feels to me like, okay, I know that Fiora Shen beats this Mono Demacia Bannerman. This is the game that the match is riding on. Let me just finish it here. Either I lose this or I win this, and then I pretty much have a guaranteed win next time. If I lose here, I save like 20 minutes of my life.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen multiple times where they're just like, all right, I know that this is going to be the harder deck to win with, so I'm going to try to get this out of the way, and if I do get this win, then yeah, I'll be able to get that second win a little bit easier.
And not a bad opening hand on the side of Smilo either. Petty Officer just feels so good into these board-centric matchups.
All right, there we go. And a little bit of, looks like Twitch kind of just like shit out there for a second, so.
Oh, well, that's not great.
No, actually, but for once, I can confirm it wasn't on my end, so that is great.
Okay, that's good.
That was just Twitch being all weird. Oh boy. So, all right. So we have Pettish having kind of the dream start here, getting the Fleet Feather off with the Bright Steel Protector, which is always a good first drop. And we'll see what Smiloo decides to play here to kind of stave off some of this attack. Looks like we're gonna go with the Petty Officer, probably the 1-cost follower. Nope, goes with the Keg.
I was gonna say Keg makes sense since you do have this this Make It Rain. You have a potential to clear the entire board of Pettish since he did go for the challenge onto the Petty Officer with the Laurent Protege rather than the Fleet Feather Tracker. So Smiloo could high roll into a board clear here, and that's going to feel really bad for Pettish.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can he high roll? And, okay, so I think Pettish is actually thinking, too, like, is there a Make It Rain, which is exactly why he's considering pulling the Petty Officer with the Fleet Feather here to just guarantee that this Laurent lives. I mean, it kind of feels bad either way. I mean, if he high rolls, it doesn't really matter. So what do you do as Pettish? Do you pull with the Fleet Feather or do you pull with the Laurent?
I like pulling with the Fleet Feather because then the Laurent gets to push damage. Even if he does high roll and hit my Laurent.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. And obviously, as Pettish, you want to be the aggressor in this matchup. So that does make sense. Does not completely high roll, but not the worst possible roll you could get either.
Yeah, no matter what, Pettish had set himself up to lose 2 units to that Make It Rain.
Yep.
Oh, and now we're going to get a Warning Shot. Even gets the draw with the Grifter, and that means we're going to get Warning Shot into Pilfered Goods and Black Market Merchant on the following turn if Smiloo wants. And I've really been singing the praises of Nab decks into Demacia decks lately. I feel like they do have the best targets for you to actually steal away. And the second Warning Shot picked up means we don't even have to think about this when we have the backup Warning Shot for the Riptide Rex turn.
Wow, yeah, and like I said, when we first started this game, counting down the turns to turn 8 when Riptide comes out, he has exactly what he needs to make it to turn 8. And if he does, and Pettish, if he basically has no choice but to develop a decent board by before turn 8, which means this Riptide Rex is just going to shred through what Pettish does have left.
Yeah, Pettish really just has to hope to pick up a Ranger's Resolve before that happens. It usually lets your board survive the Rex, albeit at pretty low HP totals. But, if you've got 6 units on board and you Ranger's Resolve into a Rex, that's about as bad as a Rex can feel, other than firing 7 shots into a Nautilus.
7 shots into a Nautilus. God, that hurt me a little bit thinking of that, man. That's not
We've seen it multiple times.
Not cool. Not cool. And yeah, so and again, we see it from Pettish going wide. This is a pretty decent board from Pettish. So now the question is going to be, does Pettish finish the game prior to turn 8? Can he be the aggressor for the next 3 turns and take away this victory before this Riptide Rex hits the board.
Pettish only has one attack turn between here and turn 8, so I want to say no. Especially with, this is so much value going to come out of Smilu with the reduced costs on everything. Smilu should be able to pretty easily build up a massive 6-unit board.
Yeah, and I got to agree, right? With only one attack token left, it just feels really bad not having the attack token on evens when you're going up against Riptide. And hey, he's going all in. You know, we got 5 units, we got 2 riposts in hand, but now we have a single combat and a concerted strike. Oh man.
Smilu somehow managed to only steal 1 unit out of a deck that only plays 4 different spells.
Yeah, yep. That's, oh my god.
Smilu actually just stole a third of the spells in Pettish's deck.
And Pettish still somehow draws a spell.
I don't know how many of those I know at least one of those riposts in Pettish's hand is a Fiora.
Like, what are the chances that actually happens? Jesus. So 3, 6, 7, 8. So he actually has lethal if he plays both riposts.
And then whatever unit he plays it on dies to Concerted Strike, unless it's the War Chef. Actually, I guess the Badger Bear also survives it, so.
Yeah.
Has the potential.
So if
doesn't have the potential, because Smilu can actually stack it so that the Concerted Strike goes off first, and then single combat finishes off whatever it is.
Concerted Strike. Okay, yep.
So yeah, Concerted Strike would pop the barrier and deal 2 damage, and then the single combat deals another 2 damage. Does Pettish go for it? I feel like it's really risky into an Ezreal deck.
Ooh, okay, no, this is good that he didn't go for it. Now he might win. I think he can win now. Doesn't he win because the single combat's played first?
I mean, you still have to worry about things like Mystic Shot. I think it's really risky to try and do this against a Piltover and Zon deck.
I mean, yeah, but you have to, right? Like, what other choice does he actually have going into turn 8?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think, let's see, if he reposts this Fiora, the problem is a Concerted Strike still kills his Fiora, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Because Double Barrier doesn't play around that, but he does have it. I mean, he has Concerted Strike mana available to him, so he will get to stop the Concerted Strike, but it's going to be 1 damage shy of lethal then.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's not, because the Concerted Strike would actually level the Fiora.
Oh, no way! Yes, yeah.
This is just,
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow, that's exact lethal. Oh my god, dude.
That's one of those weird situations where like you're looking at it and you're like, okay, someone has lethal here, and I got to figure out exactly how, who, and why. Oh, that is interesting, the way that this all played out for Smilu.
That is really interesting. Oh, wait. Wait, does the Concerted Strike... Wait, alright, hold on.
So you just layer it so that Fiora hits the unit first. 1 Concerted Strike will still go off and pop your barrier. Then your Fiora will level. Single combat will go off, and it's not enough to kill the Fiora because she'll be an 8-3.
3 health. Okay, alright, so... Okay, yeah. I was thinking that, like, because her barrier would get popped with the Concerted Strike, she wouldn't live, but now there's only 1 unit that's really attacking her. Yeah. So, okay. All right. Cool.
Funny enough, if you had thrown the Concerted Strike at a unit that wasn't Fiora, you actually would have won.
If you throw the Concerted... Yeah. Yeah, actually. Wow. That is a very, very interesting interaction there at the end of that game. And
wait, no, that's not true, because the other player had the last Concerted. Never mind. I'm trolling.
Wow,
there were 2 Concerted Strikes on the stack. I forgot whose was whose. No, there was no way that Smilu got out of that one.
So Pettish taking it home 2-0 versus Faustin there, and wow, that was a hell of a last turn. You know what's funny? Because we just had the Duels of Runeterra tournament too. I feel like all right, remember when I asked you the question, would you prefer to cast a Spooky Karma Mirror or a Bannerman Mirror?
Yeah.
I think that this game and the last finals game for Duels of Runeterra prove why Demacia mirror matches are actually interesting. All right, and Pettish taking it home there. Going to send Smilu over to the losers bracket. As always, everybody, guys and gals, do not forget to subscribe if you are not already subscribed to the channel, and turn on that bell. That way you get notified when I put up more of these tournament footage casts. So, as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.